Good morning, everyone. Yes, as you can see on my screen, next week is the last and final week for this term in terms of classes wise. Hello, everyone. Once again, welcome to another class of PLAR History and Geography here at WASA here in Silico. We're live right now in class. We're at week number 8. Again, my name is Jonathan, and I am your teacher for this course. So we're almost done. We're almost at the end of this term. We're pretty much cover a lot of content so far. We have mainly two more topics that we need to cover in terms of the geography portion before all things are done. Over the next 60 minutes, we will discuss the following: pollution, types of resources, and conservation, but mainly dealing with the environment and pollution. That is our theme for today. We'll get to our learning goals, expectation, and our success criteria very shortly. But again, this is term 1B. Again, next week is the last and final week. It is January the 19th, 2017. And welcome to class to everyone who is live with us right now, listening or just listening along. Once again, you can get a hold of me at any time, either by phone call, email, or through social media, Facebook. Again, simply just call the WASA office here in Silico. Lillian, our receptionist, front desk, will simply just forward your call to me. Simply just ask for Jonathan or extension 2221. Email, again, get a hold of me at jho@nnec.on.ca, or you can find me as a friend on Facebook at jhowasa. Again, if you have any questions in regards to that, get in touch with me. You can simply talk to your DEC. They have all that information as well. Please join us live right now in class by simply calling the WASA studio at your learning center or at home, or you can simply log on to Smart Bridget as well. I know we all have busy lives, we're almost done, but again, if you have missed any content or want to review anything, go back, check it out on the archive page or on my YouTube page as well, where I have posted all of the previous recorded classes as well. And again, just so a reminder, please continue to work on your assignments. If you have any questions, you know who to ask. That's me in regards to this course or any of the other IL courses that I am currently marking, such as CHC2D or CHC2P, grade 9 geography, civics, food and nutrition, all those other IL courses that I'm currently marking at the moment as well. Again, like I always say, like I always encourage, please continue to work on your assignments. Again, even though next week is the last week for classes for this term, all the PLAR students, it doesn't really affect you. Just continue where you left off in terms of your progress, and we'll go from there. But again, you don't need to reapply. You don't need to resubmit any of your course content or material. Just continue where you left off. But again, hopefully you're still working assignments. That way we can get a goal in terms of you being able to write your final assessment, your test, your exam, which is the one that really counts the most. So again, just keep that in mind as well. Alrighty, as you can tell, we're still focused on lesson number 5, physical geography. We're gonna still work on that again. Next week, we're still looking at lesson number 5 as well. Again, lesson 5, physical geography, is a giant lesson. So again, lots of content is being covered here as well. So again, our theme for today's class is simply looking at pollution and conservation. Okay, again, some definitions that we will go over. some examples that I will provide for the class. And at the end of today's class, at the end of today's class, we'll go over assignment number 15, your second last assignment, which is your biggest assignment in terms of mark-wise. Uh, Pretty unique assignment as it covers a different forms of assessment as well. So we'll get to that near the end of today's class. But first, let's go through some of these contents so that we have a good understanding, good foundation of what pollution is, what conservation is, types of resources, etc. So I didn't type out today's learning goals, so we're going to write them out together in class so that we all know the direction we're heading for today's class. So again, today we're learning about pollution. Again, I'm gonna quickly put this down in report form. We'll be looking at the balance of nature. We're looking at different types of resources, whether they're renewable or non-renewable. Again, we'll define what those are. And then we'll be looking at different types of conservations as well. So that is the direction we're heading in terms of today's class. In terms of your success criteria, what you will be able to achieve by the end of today's class will be, again, I didn't type this out beforehand, so I'm going to write them out. Again, feel free to add to our success criteria or learning goals. Again, ideally, we want to be doing this together as a class. So as it gears towards your learning as well. So what can you explain after today's class? So hopefully you can think about that. Some examples are I can explain ways to reduce pollution. I can explain ways to conserve our environments and etc. as well. Or I can define what is pollution. I can provide examples of renewable and non-renewable resources, something on the lines of that. So again, something to keep in mind as we go through today's class content, lecture, and etc. So that's that. So let's get to our first slide for today's class, which is called How Do We Upset the Balance of the Environment? Again, we talked about the environment last class in a way, where we talked about global warming and climate change. So we should be able to have a good understanding of what is the environment. Again, the environment is everything that is around us, living, non-living, plant, animals, and others. So how do we people, individuals, upset the balance of the environment, whether it's in towns, cities, and our communities? I have provided some examples on the screen. Again, feel free to add some of your examples that you think may apply as well. We can write it out, or we can always add it to the list as well. So again, feel free to feel engaged. This is your class. We want to be learning together. So again, make sure you try to get involved as much as you can. So one, destroying habitats of living things. So again, we destroys animals, homes, okay, by other so many different factors. Okay, pollution could be one. Making sure that they don't relocate to a different area is another factor. Cutting down trees for farmland and towns, again, in order for our towns to expand, we need to sacrifice our trees. Again, not cool because we know that trees provide so much benefits such as oxygen and shade, uh, and other factors as well. Building dams, again, for electricity or hydro, digging and mining, again, where we dig holes in our earth, and pollution, all types of pollution. Okay, this is all examples of how we upset the balance or we disturb the balance of nature and our environments based on our everyday activities. As a result, species of animals find it harder to survive. We upset the balance of nature. So again, we need to take into account animals as well, because if we don't, they will be gone and it won't be cool to have in the future and for future generations as well. So again, think about it. If you're in their shoes, if someone came and disturbed you or changed the way you did things, how would that impact you? Would you be satisfied, happy, unhappy? Okay, again, you will need to adapt as well. So again, it creates more stress. Uh, it creates people being depressed or sad, and it affects the way we live and how we feel as well. Pollution. Said that a couple times already today, but what is pollution? Again, I think we all have a good general understanding of what pollution is, but in terms of more formal content, people upset the balance of nature with pollution. Okay, pollution, oh, we know it's out there, it is a major problem. Pollution is anything that harms the environment. Okay, it could be any substance, pollutants. Okay, pollution occurs when a harmful substance or pollutants are released into our environment. It takes part in many different forms, okay? The major one that we always think about is air, the one that we breathe, but there could be land pollution, such as garbage and others, and pollution in our waterways, in our water system, such as chemicals or things we dump into our water. So again, it affects how we drink water, how we use water, how we breathe, how we walk on land. So again, pollution, it's there, it's not cool. We need to try to minimize as much damage as possible. It poisons the environment and it can spread to all parts. Okay? All parts, not just the air, but again, that can link to the land and water as well. But why is pollution so negative? Why is so pollution harmful? Well, it creates illnesses where we get sick, birth defects, breathing problems for our youth and our elders, and other health factors and problems as well. Again, if we don't have safe drinking water or we drinking contaminated water, again, that impacts our health in a major factor. That's pollution. Again, try to keep it simple, try to simplify it. Again, it's in your textbook on page 64. Okay, that is pollution, what it is, how it spreads, why it is so negative and harmful. Some illustrations on my screen right now, class. So again, we have air pollution, again, from cars, from factories, all those smoke that we see. Garbage, landfills, again, that's an example of land. Again, it takes up space, it smells, it stinks, it's not cool to look at. So again, we want to try to recycle as much as possible and eliminate landfill and garbage. And water, again, it affects marine-based, aquatic-based mammals and animals. It gets into our lakes and oceans, which affects our water system, how we brush our teeth, how we take a shower. We can't go to the beach, and most importantly, like I emphasize, drinking water. Again, we want to have clean drinking water, form of necessity for life. If you don't have that, again, big major problem. So again, as you can see, they're all linked to one another. They don't follow in this particular order that I'm putting arrows in, but again, they're all linked to one another. So again, just keep that in mind. So that is pollution. Moving along, we'll talk about the ozone layer next. This is on the next page, on page 65 in your textbook. The ozone layer is this imaginary layer high up in the atmosphere. How high? Well, it's way up there. Okay, we cannot reach it, we can't climb it. It's just absolutely way up there. It's high in our atmosphere, which is the air. It's this layer known as the ozone layer. The purpose of this ozone layer is that it blocks ultraviolet or UV light from coming from the sun, from hitting our Earth and our planet. Okay, so it protects us. Okay, it protects us from skin cancer, eye problems, and other as well. So again, we know the sun is absolutely massive. It provides us daylight, light, heat. But again, if we don't have this protection of layer known as the ozone layer, it can cause problems into our environment. It also is harmful for our plants and our animals. Again, we must keep our ozone layers intact because as there are evidence out there, humans are destroying the ozone layers with pollution, with chemicals, and other factors as well. Which means that there are now holes and pockets that the sun UV light can travel through and hit our ecosystem more effectively. But again, what is it? Again, it's high up in the atmosphere and it protects us. Okay, if it doesn't, we're destroying it and it damage our ecosystem. Again, I know there's lots of definitions in this course, especially in this portion in terms of geography, but again, simplify it, put it into your own words so that you can understand it. Okay, I don't expect everyone to become expert in terms of what is pollution, what is ozone layer. Just get the good general understanding, and so that you'll be able to articulate it in terms of your assignments, your final tests, and how you write it as well. That's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm looking for. Okay. Again, acid rain, our next topic. What is acid rain? Well, imagine rain that falls from the sky. I'm sure we all have seen rain before, but acid rain is just another form of rain that is more acidic. Okay, that's more acidic. How is this caused? Well, we know that rain just happens by nature and just falls from the sky. But acid rain, again, it happens. We may not even know it. It is caused by human impact, such as cars, trucks, trains, power plants. All these chemicals, such as nitrogen and sulfur, are released into the atmosphere and the air. All that combined with sunlight, water vapor, and oxygen, which is all that leads to more acidic rain. Okay, why is this bad? We may have seen that rain is good because it gives us water, it grows our grass, it grows our trees, it kind of washes our car, it cools off the environment, the air. But acid rain, in a way, it destroys our planet and our aquatic ecosystem. It is rain that's more acidic, which is more harmful for our plant and our aquatic ecosystem. So again, trees may not grow as well. Um, Buildings may erode from erosions. Cars can be more rusty. That's another factor. Building can change colors. Okay, all that comes into effect with acid rain. So again, make note of that, and we'll move along. To conservation. To conservation. Again, class, I think we all know what conservation is all about, but let's try to simplify it so that we can all have a good understanding. So imagine something in your lifetime or in your community that you absolutely love so much that you want to protect. Think of an item that you have at the moment. It could be your gaming system, it could be your cell phone, it could be your television, it could be the set of books that are sitting on my shelves, collecting dust that you want to love so much. But conservation all has to do with protection. Okay, protection. We want to preserve it so we can have it for the future. Okay, if we don't, it can get damaged, lost, and we won't have it anymore. So think about your cell phone. I think a lot of us have some sort of cellular device right now or smartphone. We all have like screen protectors and case on it. Again, that can be a form of conservation so that we can have it tomorrow, the next day, next month, next year, so that it is safe and protected. Okay, that's generally the idea of conservation. Okay, we want to preserve, protect, maintain for future use, future generations as well. Okay, think about food. Food could be another example that we want to help preserve as well. So let's move away from that example of cell phone or smartphone, but let's apply it to nature. Okay, and let's apply it to our environment, our wildlife, and others. Okay, how do you want to protect our wildlife? How do we preserve nature so we have it for future use and for future generation? That's what we're talking about. Okay, that's what we're talking about. Okay, it all starts on the next page, on page 66 in your textbook. Going back to our learning goals, we're going to talk about renewable and non-renewable resources. Okay, these are huge factors and themes when it comes to conservation. So we'll start things off with looking at renewable. Okay, think about renew. Okay, if you're at the library and you want to renew a book, okay, so you can have it again and again and again. That same concept applies to resources. Okay, so renewable resources can be used again and again and again and again, and it will not run out. Okay, we'll always have it in a sense. Okay, renewable resources could be, for example, the sun, as the sun is always there. Wind, waves, and heat from the earth are all examples of renewable resources. Why again? Because it is always there. We can use it again and again and it will not run out. They do not produce greenhouse gases, therefore they are less harmful to our planet and to our earth. So again, some examples: wind power, wind turbines, windmills, solar power, the sun, solar panels. Okay, hydro, we have dams, Waves and tides from the ocean, because the ocean is always there, and there's always waves and tides that moves from in and out. Thermal power, again, heat from that comes from deep rocks underneath the Earth's surface, and biomass, which is energy from plants such as wood and animal droppings that can be burnt to make steam, to turn turbines, to make electricity. So all these examples are ways that we can produce energy, hydro, electricity, power, okay, so that is less harmful to our planet and our environment. And again, it is always there, okay? It is always there. Sure, wind turbines and windmills and solar panels are expensive, but again, think long range, long picture, it is always going to be there and it's always going to be effective. So again, renewable resource, it is always there. It will not be gone. Okay, it will not be gone. So class, what do you think non-renewable resource mean? Any guesses? Well, it simply means in a way the opposite. So non-renewable means that you cannot renew your library book anymore. It's not, you just can't. Okay? Once you have it and it's all gone, and it's all gone. Okay? We cannot have it again. You cannot make it again. You cannot produce it again. It is simply just gone. Most of our electricity comes from power stations such as fossil fuel like coal, oil, and gas. But again, once it is gone because we cannot make it anymore. And once it's gone, like I said, it is gone. Okay? So we must keep in mind these resources. We still have them, but if we all use them very quickly, we won't be able to have them anymore. So again, fossil fuels, for example, nuclear plants, coal, oil, and natural gases. So again, gasoline in our cars, in our trucks that we drive in our communities, from left to right, here and there, to different towns. If we want to travel, think long range. Again, we must come up with alternative means because gasoline, once it is gone from our planet, we cannot make it anymore. Hence why we see on the media and on the news and even on the roads where we have hybrid cars, electricity cars, whether you have electricity, have gasoline, where you can plug in your car and not have to use gasoline. These are all examples and alternative means that are starting to happen so that we can not waste gasoline anymore. Again, gasoline is not cheap, it's expensive. Again, all that needs to be considered as well. So again, non-renewable resources, once it is gone, it is gone. We cannot make it or produce it anymore. So again, think long range, think long-term picture. But there are many types of conservations, as you can see on my screen. Again, all this come into play. In your textbook, it talks about each one more in depth and provides examples of each one. I just try to summarize each one and again try to simplify as simple as we can in terms of conservation wise. So air conservation. Well, we need to protect our air that we breathe. We need to eliminate pollution. It stinks, it smells bad, and it's bad for our health. So again, keeping our air clean. Class, what do you think are some examples that we can keep our air clean? Well, again, try to eliminate garbage, try to not drive as much, all those examples as well. Plant more trees, again, all ways to conserve. Water, again, necessity of life. We must keep it fresh, keep it clean, and don't waste water. Again, we don't have an unlimited source of water. It can be gone at some point, but again, we do have lots of it. But again, we must keep it clean, keep it fresh, because we pretty much use it every day. Take a shower, take a bath with it. We brush our teeth. We drink water. Well, I hope everyone's drinking water. We use water for cooking. We use water to wash our car, to water our grass. We go swimming at beaches, or at lakes if it's clean. Again, many ways that we use water. Okay, many ways to use water. So just keep that in mind as well. So again, we must not dump chemicals or other items into our water. Soil conservation. Again, we need it to grow vegetation, trees, crops as well. If we damage the soil, again, due to erosion and other factors and weathering, it takes a long time to soil to reproduce itself again. So again, we must keep our land and our soil in good condition, fertilize it so that it's not broken down. Again, crop rotation is another form, but we won't get into that. But again, keeping our land in good shape. Wildlife, our animals. Okay. Wildlife is everywhere, especially up here in Silico. There are tons of deers and moose, bears, raccoons, and others. But again, we all love hunting. Uh, Overhunting could be a problem. Forest fire, which I heard is an issue in this region, come into play as well. It doesn't just impact us, but it has a major impact on our wildlife. So just keep that in mind as well. They had to relocate to different areas where they may not have the same sources of food. Again, we must try to protect them. It is their home as well. Again, trees. Again, we must not chop down trees as well. Again, it's a part of our ecosystem as well. Again, yes, I do understand that wildlife and animals are meat lovers, meat eaters. Again, they do provide us a source of food. Especially I know it's part of First Nation cultural traditions. But again, we need to keep in mind that again we must preserve and protect our wildlife as well. Same thing goes for fishing. Again, overfishing is not cool as well. It impacts the ecozones over there as well, where they're not able to reproduce at the rate at the normal rate as they should be. Metal conservation, well, recycle. Okay, recycle. I hope everyone's recycling. I think today in Silico is recycle day because as I was walking to my office, there are tons of blue bins and paper shredders all out on the road. So again, make sure we recycle any paper, aluminum, glass bottle, plastic. Pretty much everything's recyclable. Okay, or organic compost. Keep that in mind as well. Or reuse them again. Okay, feel free to use I don't know a water bottle or other containers that we have out there. Plastic bags, okay, from the grocery stores. Sure, use it again for other items, okay? But again, it's not just garbage. We can't just dump it that we don't want it. We use them again for our conservation. And lastly, fuel conservation. Again, we talked about this. Again, example of gasoline. Again, once it's gone, it's gone. So we should not waste it. So again, we must find alternative means. Public transportation, walking, biking, all alternative means to driving. Turn off lights, save power, use electronic appliances that save energy. If you're not using your computer right now, turn off that monitor. If you're not in your room at your learning center, turn off the lights. All those small little things goes a long way. So again, all these are types of conservations that impacts us and the environment and around us. So again, all the little things that we do every day goes a long way. Again, if you have any questions in regards to what we talked about today in terms of pollution and conservation, again, you know where to find me. Simply send me an email, give me a phone call, send me a message on Facebook. If you're a local student here in Silicon, stop by office, say hello. We can work on these questions together, your assignments together, and we can clarify any confusions as well. All right. So that's that for today. We're gonna get to assignment number 15, your second last assignment. We'll go through some of these questions in depth. We'll perhaps do some of these questions even together. It's out of 40 marks. Again, don't feel overwhelmed. 40, again, marks are not just what really matters. So question number 1, outline 5 things that upset the balance of nature. So again, feel free to use examples from the class, your textbook, or others that you may come up with that or apply. So again, like always, class and students, details, full sentences, check for spelling, check for grammar, have a friend read over it. All those things will go a long way. So again, I'm going to quickly jot these down in important form. Feel free to use them, but convert them into sentences. So again, pollution. Very mine. Again, these are all examples that can upset the balance of nature. Don't necessarily have to use them. Again, be creative, think outside the box, use your critical thinking skills. But again, pollution, mining, digging, cutting down trees and forests, or over hunting. Again, these all upset the balance of nature in a way. So again, I'm looking for 5 examples of 5 things. What is the ozone layer? Again, it's there, define it. Okay, so example of a good level 4 mark will look something like this. Again, always add details, give examples to help explain your thinking as well. Again, hopefully you can go back and check it out on the archive page where you can obviously hear but you can't see, which means that hopefully you're able to log into the Smart Bridget and see what I'm seeing in terms of what is on my screen. Again, that's why I created that YouTube channel where all this pre-recorded lessons or recorded lessons from the past where I uploaded is there for you to see as well. So again, for example of a level 4 answer would be the ozone layer is a layer high up in the atmosphere. It blocks harmful UV light coming from the sun. Okay, I state what it was. I explain why it was significant. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Can what is acid rain? Acid rain is formed when vehicles, planes, trains, power plants, and industrial fuel fossil and nitrogen into the air. It combines with sunlight, water vapors, and oxygen to make it more acidic and toxin, which is then acid rain falls to the earth. Okay, that's acid rain. Next question, what is renewable resources? Again, define it. It is replaced by nature. Examples could be oxygen and soil. Okay, but again, put that into sentences as well. Question number 5, what is non-renewable? It is not replaced by nature. Once it's gone, it is gone. Examples could be minerals and fossil fuel. Okay. What is carpooling and how does it help reduce air pollution? We didn't we talked about it, but we didn't explain what carpooling is. But again, I think we all know what it is. If you're not sure, let me know. Okay, I'll clarify. But again, carpooling is when more than one people are going to the same place, but we all hop in one car instead of driving our own cars. Okay, so we help each other, we reduce traffic jams, we reduce the amount of cars on the roads as well. 7, list 3 laws you would create if you could to cut down air pollution. Again, this is where you become creative, think outside the box. If you were able to create 3 laws, what would they be to help cut down on air pollution? It could be use public transit a couple times a month, stuff like that. Okay. Cannot find this in your textbook, but again, you have to think creative. Okay. These are the best questions because you cannot find it in your textbook. You have to use your critical thinking skills. Next deals with water and land pollution. What other ways can conserve water? Think about brushing your teeth. Think about taking a shower. What can we do? Well, obviously we all brush our teeth, but we can always turn off the tap as we brush our teeth so that the water is not running. We can take showers instead of bath because logically shower saves water compared to bath because that's what fill the tub of so much water as well. So again, on the lines of that. Next, you see a little chart that has 10 descriptions. You are to put a check mark in terms of where they apply. So for example, water sewage discharge, is that land or is that water? Well, we know that sewage is water, so it has to be water. Chemical dumping into rivers, well, water. Pesticides, again, it could be both, depending on how you look at it. Detergents, that could be water. garbage. Again, that could be both, depending on how you look at things. Burial of toxin waste, so that's land. Fertilizers, again, could be both, but mainly just land. Use DDT to control mosquitoes, land, litter, could be both. Abandoned junk cars. Again, some of these are subjective, but again, show me where you think they apply. Again, some of them can relate to both, but some may more apply to one compared to the other. Next, it's like a little fill in the blank activity where you use the phrase from the top, you read the statement, and you fill in the blank. Fun way, different way, but again, it still shows your knowledge and thinking. So anything that harms the environment could be pollution. Pollution occurs when pollutants are entered into the environment. Again, read each statement, fill in the blank. And lastly, talks about rainforests are being destroyed each year, and how does that upset the balance of nature? Think animals, think wildlife as well. Okay? So again, class, a much bigger assignment where you still have the same where you read each question, you define it, you give examples. You have some chart where you put little check marks. You have fill in the blanks. Again, all unique different types of assessment going on within this assignment. So it's pretty cool. Not just always writing all the time, but again, lots more thinking, critical thinking are used for this assignment. So again, hopefully you are working on that. Again, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. If you need any accommodations, let me know. Let me know how you're progressing. Again, if you're doing well, if you're almost done, if you just started, just let me know. Okay, just let me know. All right, so next week, we're going to talk about last and final topic, which is latitude and longitude. Looking at maps, looking at locations, looking at directions. And then a week from today, we'll wrap up everything. Okay, well, I'll give the class some examples of what to expect on your final exam when you write it. So that I have a good sense of what's going on with that. Okay, so that's what we have in store for next week. We're pretty much at the end of this course. We're almost done. And again, I know everyone's been working super hard. So again, give yourself a pat on the back. Again, if you need any help with your assignments, let me know. If you are a local student in town, stop by the office on Front Street next to the post office. Stop by, say hello to me. We can work on a couple of your assignments together in class so that way we know you're progressing well. But again, there's many ways for you to get help if you need it. Alright, so again, this has been PLAR History and Geography with your teacher Jonathan. Hope to see everyone here live in class next week. We'll stop it right here for today, and I'll see everyone back here live on Tuesday. Thanks so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.